Hi, I'm Doris Epstein, and this is MENSCHlife TV. What you're about to see looks like a Hollywood movie. Jewish Indiana Jones starring Dr. Izzy Lieberman and a community of Ugandan Jews. In August, Izzy Lieberman went to Uganda, to eastern Uganda, to deliver the most precious document in Judaism, a Torah, to a community of Ugandan Jews. With him was his mother, Noemi Lieberman. We're going to watch and see what happened.
It's called the Kinder Kit Project. They put together school bags with school supplies for children in small communities. Today they've sent me with 200 Kinder Kits.
Ever since Doctor promised that he's coming back with a delegation, we've been actually yearning to see you again here.
Last year when I came, I was very touched and impressed by this community's dedication, compassion, and devotion to Judaism.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ובנך יאמר שוב אדוני לבוא ערפי ישראל.
I'm speaking with Noemi Lieberman right now. Noemi, you had what you call the trip of a lifetime.
Yes, it was.
How did this begin? How did a spinal surgeon, and a famous one, come to Uganda, find a group of Ugandan Jews, and deliver this Torah? What was the beginning of this?
Well, easy volunteers on the Doctors World Vision once a year for a month to Kampala, Uganda. And as he was performing surgery so many years, about 5 years ago, he heard rumors that there are Jews in Uganda, and he was thinking, yes, maybe. He started asking questions. And of course, the month goes fast, and he goes home, and he still thinks of those Jews in Uganda. When he came back, he asked again.
And you found something about it. You found some information about Ugandan Jews.
Well, yes, he told me that there are some Ugandan Jews, and I said, oh yeah, really? And we looked it up on the internet, and we found that there were 2 tribes actually, and the one that was closest to Kampala, where he goes every year, is called Puti, a village of actually all Jews. And one day he picked himself up and he said, I'm going to Uganda.
Noemi, you've described this as the trip of a lifetime. It sounds bizarre. Your son Izzy is based in Texas. You're in Toronto. And yet, he found this community of Ugandan Jews and found a Torah. How did it all begin?
Izzy volunteers 1 month a year to the Spine Mission in Uganda through the World Doctors Organization. And as he was through the years, he heard rumors that there are Jews in Uganda. And he said, well, yeah, maybe, of course, fine. And the years go by, and the 1 month goes very fast, and he goes home, and he still thinks about that. And when he comes back the next year, which was about 4 or 5 years ago, he decided, if there are Jews, I'm going to find them. And he asked where actually they are, and they all live in a little village near Mount Elgin, which is called Puti, Uganda. One day he decided, I'm going to Puti. And they told him, it's a long way, it's bad roads. He said, I'm going to Puti. And he went. And he met the rabbi and the community. And everybody thought, probably this is the only time he'll come there because it was so hard.
So there actually is a group, a community of Jews.
Yes, there is a tribe called the Abuyudaya Jews in Uganda, and they all live in Puti, and they are they consider themselves Orthodox Jews. They have a rabbi, they have a chazan, they have a chairman of the board. The chazan teaches the children the traditional prayers, all in Hebrew, and it's just a pleasure to see how they kept the tradition.
Well, you have pictures to illustrate. Let's look at them.
Okay.
Are we ready? Are we ready to go? Okay, what's this?
Okay, this picture is the warehouse that they have, that they lock every year with all the medical supply and medical equipment. And in this case, that's Izzy with the dark shirt, and Jordan, the taller young man from the Ve'ahavta group from Toronto. He brought
the Jewish humanitarian group. What did he bring?
He brought 20 cases of school kits. It's a school bag, and it has all kinds of school supplies, including some candles.
How did Ve'ahavta get into this?
Ve'ahavta was approached by Izzy's friend. Izzy has a very good friend here in Toronto, and he's on the board of Ve'ahavta.
What are we seeing
Rick
here?
Epstein. This is Izzy looking at one of the deformities that is very, very common in Uganda. It's the spine that he has to decide if to operate right away, or it can wait until next year, or it can wait. The gentleman in front of him, the dark guy, is also a doctor. And this is what a hospital room looks in Uganda.
In Kampala, in the capital.
In Kampala. And these are members of families that come and wash the sheets and bring clean sheets every day. The hospital is in a very, very dire need of rebuilding and refurnishing and resupply. The nurse, now this is the group that Izzy started actually with 5 people going to Uganda. And this year he had 18 people. The 2 sitting at the very bottom row are their first time. They are a professor, a spine surgeon, and a radiologist from Poland.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, they volunteered from Poland. I must add that all these people volunteered the whole month in Uganda free of charge. They're paid for their room and board, but
That's
nothing else. Yes, the nurses, the top guy on the left side of the screen is Izzy and his friend Chris, which were the original 2 doctors that started the spine mission from Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio. And all the rest are the guest volunteers, and many of them come second and third time. It's a very, very demanding month.
Can we have another picture? Okay, we're stuck. That's a long 30 seconds.
No, he...
Is it going to roll now? Yeah.
This is called the Uganda Torah Delivery Team.
This is the group that went.
This is the group that went from Kampala to Putti. Not all doctors came with us for that weekend. It's myself and my son next to me. Next to him is the rabbi.
This is the rabbi with the kippah.
The dark with the kippah. And Judah Epstein is the gentleman that was that delivered the Torah from Dallas to.
And here it is.
And here is the Torah. This gentleman here on the left side of the screen is Abraham, Musi Abraham. They call him Old Abraham. He's the oldest gentleman in Putti, and he considers himself old. And he told
how
me,
old is he?
You know, I'm 60 years old. And he is the oldest, but he considers himself old, really. And these are the smiling faces. This is actually a bima cover that I brought from the Adat Shalom synagogue to Putti.
Okay.
We made a new one for Adat Shalom, and we took the old velvet one to Putti, which gave me an honor.
We'll have to end for a break, but we'll come right back for more about A Torah for Uganda. We're back with A Torah for Uganda, how that came to be, with one of the participants responsible, Noemi Lieberman. Noemi, what's this picture?
This is the Torah that was delivered and placed in its own Aron Kodesh, which is the cabinet for the Torah, and the little Torah on the side of it is the one that impressed Izzy the most. It's a small little Torah, about 12 inches, made of paper rolled.
That's
onto
what they were
two
using. That's what,
sticks.
when Izzy first met them.
Yes. When Izzy first met them, he said, "Oi, these people need a real Torah." And of course, that's where the hunt started. We looked for a Torah high and low. I shouldn't say we. They looked for a Torah high and low. But he was confiding in me every time, "Mom, it's very difficult. I can't find one." And here is the beautiful bride at her new home. And it says...
But this was not just going into a store and finding a Torah. There's a story about
no,
this.
there is a long story behind it. Izzy really passed the word around, "I need a Torah, I need a Torah." And apparently a rabbi from New York heard of a Torah being safe or safeguarded in a lost and found magazine in New York.
What's this picture that is showing?
This picture is his father, my husband, rest in peace, Max, from the times of the concentration camps. He wanted to have his father present with him. You can see about the on his face the pride and the joy to have his father present. This is his whole family. Obviously, the children were much too busy to come to this trip. So he wanted to include them in this trip, and he says, "They're going with me," so he brought them in a picture form. And actually, every year he went, he took one of his kits for the spine mission. But this was a very special one. He said that he would save that for his mom. This is his father-in-law, also wanted to have his father-in-law present. Mike passed away a few years ago, and he is Izzy's father-in-law, DC's father. So he wanted him to be there as well.
But very quickly, there's a very eerie coincidence. When the Torah was written...
Yes. The Torah was written, apparently they found out that the Torah was written in the 1940s when Max was still in concentration camps. This is one of my favorite pictures because it has a rainbow, if you see that. And the little guy came and all the mommies started, "Lo, lo, 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 lo." And the rabbi said, "God is happy that we got a Torah." So he says, that rainbow is going with Dr. Lieberman and his mama home. So we took that picture. I am here very emotional about the clothes that I brought for them. I brought 2 suitcases of good used clothes, and this is an outfit that was worn by my friend, her dress for her son's wedding. She has no more use for it, so Shira, the rabbi's wife, is wearing it. It's beige lurex with a beautiful golden scarf. And here is the Ve'ahavta presentation of school bags. Look at those smiling faces. Jordan Silverman is giving them out on behalf of Ve'ahavta, and the children are just smiling. I hate to tell you how many times they line up twice, but we had enough for all of them, and many of them had 2, and we didn't mind. Here is Jordan, and here's other smiling faces, and here are the anticipating faces of this beautiful, beautiful bag.
What
that
was in the
given.
bag?
School supplies, books, pencils, a dreidel, a couple of candles, all kinds of little Jewish souvenirs, whatever they could gather, whatever they could have. Of course, the Ve'ahavta tribes and donations.
Look at the
and
joy.
Here
Look
is
at the joy.
one
Something our kids take
happy-
for granted.
Yes. This is one happy sister to her brother. He has already his own, and she came, and look at the next picture.
It's coming. But we can feel it's palpable,
Yes,
the happiness.
it's an amazing feeling when you're standing there on the side and watching them. Look at that picture. And they're shoeless, you see?
Yes.
No shoes. They're wearing clothes that were given to them. And what can I tell you? The kippot are made, the kippah that he has on his head, they're made by local people, by yarn and needles that are sent to them as donations. As a matter of fact, I also took a lot of sewing needs and needles and threads and things. This is the whole gang having one.
What's that straw thatched building?
That is the shul.
The straw thatch?
That is the old shul. I'm going to show you the old shul as opposed to the new shul. These are all the children, and I'm sitting proudly there, and my son right on top behind me all the way to the back. And the happy rabbi's face. Look at those faces. They are just amazingly happy. This is a group of, we had a lot of these bags for school kids, so Izzy decided, let's take them to the Kampala patients. These are all children that had surgeries that were still in the hospital, and they were able to get a gift from the Puti, Uganda. Now, Kampala, it's about 4 hours drive away, and these kids are not Jewish, but he still has had a lot of
So this
bags.
is back to Puti.
This is in Puti. They are preparing the grounds for the new shul. The women are just leveling the ground and the sand and the thing. The one in the background there is the old shul, and here you're going to see the old and the new side to
In
side.
just a minute, when we come back. We're back looking at a group of Ugandan Jews and the experience of Noemi Lieberman in that area.
This is the old shul that I showed you, and this is the new shul that they are building. In the picture before that, you saw how they make their own bricks, dry them out for a few days, they store them away just like you see them there, and then they build the new shul, which is constantly needing more bricks and more work. This is the very old rabbi. Apparently, he died a few years ago, but they all remember him with a lot of love because he built that cabinet there for the Torah, so they wanted to show him on this presentation. Is the very old rabbi that died a few years ago.
How do they make their living? How do they live?
They grow coffee. They have chickens. Oh, this is Savta praying with the rabbi's daughter. That's Miriam, the rabbi's daughter, and that's myself praying, which was a very, very emotional moment for me because the rabbi's wife came to me and said, "You don't know what you did for our women and girls here in the village."
Back to how they make a living. So it's very subsistence living.
Very limited. They have
And everything you brought, the clothes.
everything is
Was used.
donated, brought, given. This is Moshe the Chazan teaching them Hebrew. This is the school. We are in the midst of negotiating where we can build a school next to the new shul,
So
the new
bringing
synagogue.
a Torah has evolved into much more.
Evolved into something, a very big project. This picture is the picture of the chairman of the board, which is Uri Katula, and all his clan. You see that his second wife, this is his second wife, apparently his first wife died. All these are his children.
How many?
I
Quick
can't
count.
remember. The rabbi has 5. There is one gentleman that has 8 children, and many of them married twice. This is a very good picture. This is the Shabbat dinner that we
What are
had
they eating?
on Friday night. It's rice and lentils and cabbage and rice and rice and lentil and cabbage. Now there is only 1 spoon. They call it kavod. They call it an honor to break bread together, and we do break bread by hand and eat it and enjoy it in the company of others. This is the earrings that I brought them. I brought a box of earrings, and my son...
Junk earrings?
No, yes, well, it's
not
custom
real.
junk. Yeah, no, not real. My son said, Mom, they don't have what to eat. I said, well, you know, a girl will always know what jewelry is. And that box emptied in no time. I had all the girls. I had to run after Alex and tell him, Alex, I need a picture of earrings. I need to show Easy that they used the earrings.
So it was the trip of a lifetime.
It was a trip of a lifetime, and I thank God for being blessed to have had that experience in my life. And I'm not young, but I endured it. That was the only worry that Izzy has. Mom, are you sure you're up to it? I said,
Well,
I will make it.
It was an incredibly arduous trip. You went first of all from Toronto to Amsterdam.
From Toronto to Amsterdam, after 4 hours wait, from Amsterdam to Kigali, after an hour and a half wait from Kigali to Entebbe, and we arrived around 11 o'clock at night and drove an hour and a half to the chalet where we were staying. So it was about 24 hours trip from door to door. It was good.
What was the weather like?
Always sunshine, always
But
beautifully mild. No, I did not feel it hot, and they say it is not very hot, but it's beautiful weather that can calm you down and just have you stroll, walk around all the time. Short sleeves, of course.
When you looked for a Torah, when Izzy started looking for a Torah, did he have any idea of what was involved, of the expense, of, or even where to start?
No. His motto that came up every couple of weeks, I don't know what I got myself into, but he kept on looking. And we started talking about where he found the Torah.
Where did he find it?
He found it in New York in a lost and found warehouse where a rabbi told him, I think there is one. So he looked for it, and the rabbi, of course, helped him, and they found it. Stored there for over 50 years. I'm not sure exactly how long. When he sent it for the, every Torah has to be checked for kashrut. When he sent it, they told him this must have been printed about 50 years ago, and figuring out and taking numbers in consideration, it was actually scribed or printed when his father was in concentration camps.
Incredible.
In the 1940s. It found itself...
So was it written in, where, do you know where it was actually written?
Yes, it was written in Poland.
Where your husband is
When
from.
my husband is from. And this was an amazing coincidence that a Torah that was printed in Poland was delivered to Africa, where I was born.
Another amazing coincidence.
To me was an amazing thing. I said, someone is guiding us up there and telling us how these things happen. There is really no way of planning these things.
To be more specific, you come from Libya. You were born in Libya. And that in itself is a story.
Yes.
That we'll get to when we come back. Noemi, tell us what life is like in Puti. What is it like for these people? Of how many, actually, are we talking about?
In Puti, we found out that there are at least 197, unless some were born since I was there, 197 Jews in Puti. Puti, Uganda is known as the Jewish village. Now you
By
asked
other
me,
Ugandans.
yeah, by everybody else. There are people living very close nearby, and they do come and they're friendly. They use their well. They take water. If you remember, they carry water by bicycle too. And there are people that live 6 and 8 minutes bicycle drive from there, from the well in Puti. You ask me why all Jews are in Puti. Because in Uganda they have the squatters' rights, and if people come and squat in a little area of land, in a little spot of ground for a few days and nobody claims it, it's theirs. So since the 1700, at the late 1700, where the chief Semei Kakanguru decided that the Jews are going to gather in Puti, they all came and started gathering in Puti.
What is their origin?
Their origin, many of them say that they were born Jewish, but unfortunately they have no legal documents.
So it's just by word of mouth, orally. They don't have a written history.
They do not.
But
Excuse
orally,
me.
orally, just by word of mouth, how far do they go back, and how did it happen that there were Jews even in Uganda?
Well, they claim they're Jews, children of Jews. As a matter of fact, when they go to Israel, they are required to, if they plan to go to Israel and stay there and claim themselves as Jews, they're required to be converted to Judaism.
So Israel does not recognize them as Jews?
Unfortunately, no, because they don't have the legal documents to show that they were born to a Jewish mother. And this is a problem that has arisen, that happened with the Ethiopian Jews, happened
Yes.
with other African nations that came and claimed they're Jews. I personally could believe them. I called them brothers and sisters. But when it
What
comes
about
to
their daily
legality,
practice, milk and meat and
they have
tradition?
they have chickens. They were given as a gift. They were given, I think, 12 chickens, and they started hatching, and now they have enough eggs for their whole village. They do take the older chickens, kill them, and by shchita, and
They have shchita?
yes, they have. Just like the rabbi, they go to Nairobi, to Kenya, to Rabbi Zohar, which apparently is one of the well-known African teachers, that he gives them the qualification. They have a shoichet, they have a moel for Brit, they have the rabbi, they have the chazan. They really consider themselves Jews. They're keeping tradition the best way they know how. The problem is going, staying in Israel. Now, we do have 2 students that were chosen among all the others, 18 and 20-year-olds. They're going for 1 year to Israel, to a yeshiva in Yerushalayim, sponsored by us in our organization and Ve'ahavta and all the people that are helping us. But they had to sign a document that they'll be for 1 year and they study at the yeshiva, that they will agree to convert, and that they will come back to their village and help their people. And this is one of the conditions. Now, of course, if we had more, we could send more boys, but in the meantime, this is what we have for the 2 boys.
So they're at an Orthodox yeshiva?
They will be at an
they
Orthodox
haven't gone yet.
yeshiva. No, they're going.
Still in the works.
Yes, they're going November 1st, after Sukkot. they'll be going to Israel, and we have people that the team is working with in Israel, and we're hoping to make it happen. Every year a couple of them will go, and they'll help themselves when they come back to Puti.
Jewish Life in Uganda. We'll be right back. Back with Noemi Lieberman and Uganda, the Jews of Uganda. The living looks very, very hard. It looks like they barely exist, let alone look to practice Judaism and struggle to practice Judaism because they're not recognized. They really don't get help except for your group.
They do get help from other groups. Apparently, that's how the rumors started. But they live a very hard, needless to say, very hard daily life. Like I said, they grow coffee, but they have sacks and sacks of coffee ready for delivery.
And who do they have the process of delivering?
They have no way of delivering them. They deliver most of their stuff. They take back and forth by bicycles. Now, they also have, we were talking about the eggs supply. Now they have enough eggs for the village. They would like to deliver some eggs somewhere else. They have no way of delivering
because you need
eggs.
refrigeration.
You need refrigeration, you need whatever, you need a truck at least. You can't deliver one egg at a time, obviously. So, you know, all these logistics that make you worry. How on earth are they going to go on? And they do.
And they look happy.
Happy is an inner thing. They're all happy because we are there. But can you imagine when a mother goes to the market and has to trade for some rice, and she probably doesn't have enough coffee to trade for rice for the next Shabbat or the next meal?
That's the economy, a barter system?
Not the whole economy. I'm talking about these Jews that grow coffee and they need rice to eat. They need lentils. They have eggs, they don't know how to deliver them. These are all things that ingenuity has to go into the picture. Talking about ingenuity. A few years ago when Easy came there and they saw the computer, they didn't know what it is. So we made sure, the team made sure that they have now a solar panel and they have 5 computers in Puti, and there is a solar panel that is helping them go on line, on electricity, on, I don't know these things, but the solar panel was supplied to them in order to advance. And you should see how fast they learned computer. Judah Epstein is one young man that is not a medical doctor. He's an engineer. So when he applied for this trip, he asked him, what do you have to offer? He says, I'll stay there a month and teach them. He stayed there 1 month and taught them computer. Now, of course, there wasn't enough to teach for the whole month, so he taught them how to irrigate. He's an irrigation engineer from Dallas, Texas. And he thought the people that were interested, he just showed them how you put 2 and 2 together when it comes to water and moving the water from one place to the next. And it's just amazing how fast they learn and how they're doing things.
So you're the only group helping at this point, is that correct?
There is another group that I'm not sure of their names, so I'm not going to mention any names, but the Ve'ahavta group took part very actively. As a matter of fact, on my presentation not too long ago, there was a travel agent that came on the scene, and she asked me, do you think we can make a tourist group to go and actually see for themselves? And I hope that she will go on. We really do need to help them out a little bit at a time.
How can people help? How can people out there help?
We do take donations. Our only problem is that I am Canadian, and if I get donations from here, it has to go through an organization like Ve'ahavta, or if they're in the States, they go through through Isidore Lieberman, Dr. Isidore Lieberman. We had the Uganda Torah project, but when the Torah, and we had very good donations, but the Torah project was closed when the Torah was delivered.
So now you're on to other projects, helping this community.
Hoping to be able to help further, yes.
In a minute, we'll go back and find out the details of how specifically people can help and participate in this amazing occasion. With Noemi Lieberman. It was beyond the Ugandan experience for you. It was an experience on another level because you had come from that part of the world originally, Libya. But Libya, your Libya, was a far cry from Puti in Uganda.
Definitely. I was born in Tripoli, Libya, which was a very well, I had a very good upbringing. When I say good upbringing is mother was mother and father was the king, and religion, tradition. We celebrated holidays in big families and large tables and big dinners. And when I came to Uganda and saw that poverty, I couldn't even imagine coming from the same continent. But nevertheless, yes, we came from Africa. It's North Africa. It's closer to Italy. Actually, I learned my primary school was in Italian when Mussolini was in Tripoli. So we considered ourselves Libyans, but when I came to this Africa, I saw the difference, and the amazing thing is that I felt brotherly. I felt a part of them. I really felt I came back to that part of the world. I don't know what it was, but I really felt it. As a matter of fact, it's a little story to tell you that when the rabbi finished with the Torah and the speeches and the thank yous, he said, now Dr. Isidore Lieberman is going to speak. What can I call you, doctor? So Izzy says, call me brother. Fine, so he's a brother. So when we came out, we finished everything, a little boy comes up to him and he says, thank you, Dr. Brother. It was such an amazing thing, and I remember brother is what we felt. I honestly feel I went back home. And
How long had your family been in Libya?
My ancestors came to Libya apparently at the time of the Ottoman Empire, because my grandfather, we have pictures of him having that sword and that hat from the Turkish soldiers of some sort. This is my fez, yes. This is my grandfather, which was born in my grandfather, probably 1869 or 70.
But that didn't count when it came to it. You lived fine.
Oh, we lived fine.
Until what point?
Until the pogroms of the Muslims, of the Arabs that threw King Idris off his throne or to exile, and they took over Libya. And most of the Arabs were also speaking Italian there, and they called it independence, independence, independence. They wanted their independence. And years later, young Gaddafi came. Years later, I would say about 10 or 12 years after we left. We left.
How old were you?
I was 11 years old when I left.
And how many
Tripoli.
people in your family? How many children?
We were 4 children, and mom and dad, but my very youngest baby brother died on that trip. It was a very hard trip going by buses and by trucks and by wagons.
You escaped.
Well, that's what you call it today, but we just walked away from everything we had. We just walked away, and my father, like I said, fathers were making the decision. He said, it's better with my children and nothing else, but with everything else and not the children. So it was one of those decisions that
But
the
almost
Jewish
all the
community,
Jews fled. At that
many.
point. And you went to Israel. You managed to escape to Israel. And
the rest is history.
the rest is history. And then you come back to Uganda.
Yes.
If you want to help and you want to participate in any way, get in touch with Noemi. Here's her email, safta2936 at AOL.com. SAFTA, Safta 2936 at AOL.com. Noemi, I think this is just the beginning of an amazing relationship with a group of our brothers that live far away over the ocean in Africa, but are our brothers and need our help. And kol hakavod to you and to Izzy for doing this.
And thank you for this opportunity. Doris, I'll remember this. This is still a part of my blessing. Thank you.
And thank you. Till next time, I'm Doris Epstein. Remember to be a mensch.